Hello everyone. This video comes from a donation from Quan Studs. Thank you, Quan. And I'm going to cover a little bit about Hans Happy Jack. Now, James Hann was very famous, very successful dogman from Florida. If you lived in Florida, the surrounding states, you sure knew who he was. Made a lot of good breedings. A lot of them on the Eli side, Bully Son side mostly, I would say. Those dogs were very popular down there due to Midnight Cowboy and Shivo. Happy Jack was at least a 3-time winner. Some reports have him as a 5-time winner. I would say his best win was over Jarrett's champion Head, Larry Jarrett, another famous dogman from the South. Head was a 5-time winner, 2-time loser, but the way his record went was he lost his first match, won 5 matches after that, and then lost to Happy Jack in 2 hours and 37 minutes. Reportedly a great fight, I don't doubt it. Happy Jack himself, and of course this is all history just like all of them. Happy Jack himself was sired by Davis's Midnight Cowboy out of Hans Grand Champion Candy. Midnight Cowboys out of Bully Son and Long's Baby. That was a very famous breeding back in the day. I think their sister, Midnight Cowboy's sister, went to Mexico. I forget her name, but I remember seeing her in Peds down there. Grand Champion Candy was a 6-time winner. She's off of Shivo and Davis's Shivo and Davis's Piggy, or Carver's Piggy. Now, there's a couple of discrepancies here, or reported discrepancies, I'll say. Nobody ever knows the truth about these, but I'll mention them anyways. Shivo, and by the way, Shivo, it's a Spanish word. It's actually pronounced chivo, which means goat. And he was a buckskin or a red with the black mask, or the widow's peak, that kind of dirty buckskin, dirty red, so. And maybe the way he was built or whatever, he looked like a goat, so they called him Chivo. That went from Chivo to Shivo, the American way of pronouncing it. That's how they pronounced it, but it's actually Chivo. Just like people say bolio. It's not bolio, it's bolio, which is a white bread that they make sandwiches out of. If anybody's ever eaten a torta, that's the kind of bread they use, bolillo bread. So it's not bolillo, it's actually bolillo. So that just because there was such a big Mexican influence back and forth over the border of dogs from the Southwest area, even from Southern California. Let's say from Southern California all the way to Louisiana. Several dogs went to Mexico, or bought by Mexican fanciers, or traded by Mexican fanciers, or gifts to Mexican fanciers. And in the same respect that later on, a lot of the Mexican dogs, Mexican Eli, and different dogs from down there ended up coming back to the United States. That's what happens when you have good dogs. You trade them back and forth. You sell them back and forth. And that was true for a lot of the Eli, Bully Son, Eli Jr. dogs, whatever you want to call them. Carver dogs, Boudreaux dogs, Whitesell, Hall, what's his name? Ken Click. A lot of them dogs went to Mexico. Even, you have Crenshaw's Rascal's sister was down there. Bully Son's sister was down there. I mentioned it again and again. I think it's important to remember that a lot of the litter mates and offspring of some very famous dogs went to south of the border. Same as you have, from California and from dogs all over the U.S. going to Baja California. That's where you get the Chinaman stuff, little gator stuff, more Bully Son stuff, more Carver blood, all kinds of stuff. And the Mexican fanciers back in the day used to come up to California, Arizona, New Mexico, Texas, and compete there as well as Louisiana. So we have Happy Jack. Anybody back in the day knew Happy Jack. There was a series of dogs named named Jack, coming from these Bully Son breedings. Not all of them are siblings, not all of them, but there's Happy Jack, Apple Jack, Cracker Jack, Smiling Jack. What's that one? Later on was Cactus Jack. You know, they all stem from these particular breedings throughout the years. And another discrepancy in Happy Jack's pedigree is Carver or Davis's Piggy actually came from Jake Kaler or Jake Kohler, another Texas dog man. In most pedigrees, you'll see Piggy out of Bully Son and Jill, Carver's Jill. But most people say it's Kaler's Jake and Scooter, I think. And that's probably more in line of how she was really bred, since the female came from Kaler or Kohler. I would guess she's more bred that way than off of Bully Son. So regardless of what it is, it didn't matter. Those dogs were popular, famous, very successful. And for me, you know, I liked what I saw of the descendants. I didn't see dogs right off of Midnight Cowboy, but I like the Midnight Cowboy type dogs, you know. And anything from the Long's Tuffy, Long's Baby stuff, you know, Satchmo Bully, Satchmo Hunters, Red Buck, all that stuff. That's the kind of Bully Son dogs I like. I prefer the most, as compared to maybe the inbred ones. You know, even the Eli Jr. to Long's Tuffy produced Stomper Jr. Bully Son to Long's Tuffy produced Stomper, and Eli Jr. to Long's Tuffy produced Stomper Jr. Very similarly built. Those are the short, squatty type. That's the way Midnight Cowboy was. That's the way Happy Jack was. Kind of that short, stout, stocky, bow-leggy kind of dogs. Known for being rough and strong, intense, you know. Midnight Cowboy won at least 3, and he himself had a 2-hour win as well, you know. So here we have Happy Jack off of Midnight Cowboy and Candy. It can't get any better than that, you know. You have Midnight Cowboy being the sire, his littermate Shivo, another champion, 3-time winner, 1-time loser. He lost to Mayfield's Gomer, I think, or 400, one of those alligator dogs. He was Candy's sire. And then you have the dam to Candy being Piggy. But it just, you know, you have multiple winners, sire and dam. 3 or 5 wins from Happy Jack. And then at least 3 wins with Midnight Cowboy, 6 wins with Candy. A lot of performance, a lot of winners there. And, you know, some of Happy Jack's siblings, littermates, were Colopy C-Train, Matt Colopy, or Ben Colopy. They were brothers. I think this was maybe Ben's. Anyway, Barney Fife, people know him as that. C-Train, you'll see her bred to Zebo, I think, Grand Champion Zebo. You'll see her in the pedigrees of Tar Heel Matt. You'll you know, bred to the Panther stuff, you know, and kind of along those lines, you know. Matt's Miss Willie, that's the female I was thinking of. Miss Willie was bred to Panther, and that breeding there has the Colopy C-Train in it. where you get to this Midnight Cowboy uh, candy breeding. So C Train was a littermate to Happy Jack. Lee's Minnie Mouse. Jimmy Lee was another famous Florida dog man. Had a lot of success, known as a top conditioner, handler, all that. Uh, he had a sister to Happy Jack named Champion Cowgirl, and I believe that was from a repeat breeding. Lee's Cowgirl would be a sister to Happy Jack. They might have been from the same litter, but as I recall from my memory, same breeding, just a different litter. You also have Candyman, uh, supposedly a 5-time winner. Another litter mate from that litter, uh, James Hand's Midnight 2. Uh, also, um, Lee's Daisy would be a litter mate, or um, uh, from the repeat breeding. You know, these could all be from. There's probably the sibling list has it as 15 litter mate, probably 10 of them, because sometimes how you look online, they repeat the names of the dogs. They'll have the name of a dog, and then they'll have a sibling, and the sibling's name is the same name as the dog that you're looking up. So that gets mixed up. My peds are that way. A lot of peds are that way. But I do remember Cowgirl being a champion. I do remember Midnight 2, uh, and Minnie Mouse, of course, C Train. Because, what you have is, one of the reasons Matt McGee, Tar Heel Matt, and Barney Fife, and even T.J. Fisher, and a lot of the guys from the South that were familiar with this blood, the reason they liked it is because they were high-powered, high-performance individuals. A lot of strength, a lot of mouth, a lot of, finish, stuff like that. So they try to incorporate different stuff. You see the Bully Sun mixed with the Zebo, and then you might see, a combination of, then you throw some Boudreaux in there, and things like that to get these high-powered dogs. They'll also incorporate Boomerang with it, and the Boomerang Bully Sun stuff was real popular through Alexander, and he bred a lot of the Boomerang dogs. Ronnie Duhan, I'm pretty sure that most of them added some kind of Eli or Bully Sun to it. I saw a dog out here match that came from Ronnie Duhan, and it was basically a Boomerang Boudreaux cross. So that cross was constantly being made, but it's these fanciers or competitors or breeders that wanted these high-powered type of dogs incorporated into their program. That's why they did it. And also for mouth and all that. One thing about Carver, he was always chasing mouth. If you look back to the old days, he basically had, way back in the day, he had Colby dogs, Colby Leitner dogs like that. When he started incorporating the Ed Crenshaw stuff, it's my guess he did it because they exhibited a lot of mouth. At that time, they were known as hard biters. Some of them went long distance, some of them proved game, but I think what they were keen on, a lot of the guys there, was they were hard biting dogs like Gimp and Reno and Leprechaun, and they were known for having hard mouth. Major dogs like that. Freddie Jones Bart and Diamond, Steinberg's Diamond. Even though sometimes they went distance, they could finish a dog pretty quick. And I think when he saw Bully Sun, he felt the same way. He wanted that high-powered, high-performance, uh, type of animal that had mouth that could bite. And that's what these dogs were known for in Florida and the surrounding areas. All the Midnight Cowboy stuff, even the Boomerang stuff. My familiarity with the Boomerang dogs was that they were fast and strong, had mouth, a lot of athletic ability, speed. So you have that duality of, you want high powered dogs, but you want them to have heart too. and that was seen in a lot of different breedings in a lot of different areas. At the time, the Bully Son, Eli Jr. stuff, Boudreaux, Eli, all that stuff was very popular. It's still popular. It always will be. You know, there's a lot of bloodlines that it cross with, you know, uh, with offspring from Happy Jack. Uh, Again, you have Eunice's Rocky. I'll just name some here. Eunice's Rocky, another popular stud dog uh, back in the day. Piggy, and these were dogs that were from Happy Jack bred to Davis's sister. There you see that Kohler stuff, you know, or Kaler stuff. Again, Piggy, sister, all kind of bred the same way. If you want to call it Carver stuff, bred to the Bully Son stuff, that's kind of what it is, you know. Our Gang's Cowboy, Davis's Polly. Now the Our Gang stuff, even today when I see peds of theirs, heavy, heavy Midnight Cowboy stuff. And I saw some dogs in Mexico years ago right from them, or they were dogs that people got from them, you know. And when I looked at the peds, I just, you know, in my mind, I'm remembering heavy Midnight Cowboy stuff. One of them was a beautiful black female. She was rough like that, but just sleek. And, you know, when they added like this Piggy stuff or the sister stuff, Davis's sister, Piggy, all that, it kind of puts a little bit more leg on them, you know. You don't have, some of them aren't that short, squatty type, you know. You still have some that are, and even with the R Gang stuff, you'll see short, squatty type dogs, and then you see some that have the more leg under them. But definitely you can see the slope, you know, to their forehead and the ears and stuff. You can tell that's a Midnight Cowboy dog, you know, looking at them. But that's what I remember from seeing the R Gang stuff, and, you know, and then seeing peds later, you know, okay, now I know why they look like that and why they performed like that. They were rough and strong, fast like that, intense, had mouth. But the physique reminded me of that old, you know, long baby, long stuffy, the Bully Son stuff. Davis's Polly, Eunice's Piggy too. Eunice, again, you know, had a lot of the Midnight Cowboy, Shivo blood, you know, and that was a good combination. When you have the Midnight Cowboy, Shivo, it's usually Midnight Cowboy on top, Shivo on the bottom. So you have the sire being Midnight Cowboy, his brother being the grandsire on the bottom. You know, that's how it is with Candy and Midnight Cowboy. You know, with Happy Jack. Midnight Cowboy's on the top, Candy's on the bottom. Her sire is Shivo. So Midnight Cowboy and Shivo are brothers. And we have Our Gang's Little Cowgirl, Our Gang's Nine Toes. Larry Bell had a female named Jackie that was out of Happy Jack and Cowgirl. I remember that breeding. It was brother-sister breeding. If I recall, even Rebel Kennels used one of them. It was brother-sister, Happy Jack to Cowgirl. So they made that breeding. Our Gang's Nine Toes and, Our Gang's Little Girl and Our Gang's Nine Toes were a result of that brother-sister breeding. But if I remember correctly, one of them was matched down at Rebel Kennels in the South as well. You have, let me see some other ones. James Hand again with Sue. She was off of Happy Jack and his Jody female. Holland's Sue would be Hand's Sue. It's the same female, just Holland acquired her as well, and Holland would be the one who had Grand Champion Cherokee Chief. So you see how they're mixing up, you know, getting the same kind of blood, you know. Even Holland's Jill was off of Cherokee Chief. Her bottom side, I'm not sure what it was, but it was probably this stuff here, the Midnight Cowboy, Shivo, Piggy stuff, you know, Carver stuff. That's what I'm guessing. Some of these dogs changed hands, like, you know, James Hand bred Sue Holland acquired her, and if I remember correctly, did breed her to Cherokee Chief. That might have been what the 4-time winner Daisy Holland's Daisy. Uh, that might have been the breeding. I'm not sure, but it's that kind of breeding. She was sired by Cherokee Chief. Boyle's Sweet Pea, Chainsaw Red, beat the Daisy female. Was a 4-time winner, sired by Cherokee Chief. So you have these guys again. Holland was Florida area, I'm sure, at least, you know, in that area. I'm pretty sure he was from Florida as well. And these are Piggy 2 was another offspring of Happy Jack. Smith's Ombre, Cracker Jack was another. There's another one with those Jack names. You know, Cracker Jack was a son of Happy Jack, and Eunice's Piggy 2. So this Eunice, the dog man, had a lot of that stuff. If you go back and look it up, you'll see, you know, how he bred them. A lot of these guys with this quote unquote what I call bully son blood, they crossed it, they inbred it, line bred it, tight bred it, loose line breed, however you want, all kinds of different ways, and just kept it going. They were just, you know, diehards for that blood. Same with, like I mentioned, our gang. You know, they did the same thing with the Midnight Cowboy stuff. And so at that time, Happy Jack was probably one of the most famous bully son type dogs and offspring of Midnight Cowboy, if not the most famous. He produced several good dogs, a few champions, all from that basically the same, you know, Midnight Cowboy, Shivo combination, Candy, Cracker Jack, Lee's Cowgirl, all that stuff. And I used to follow those dogs a lot. Off the top of my head, you know, of course I can't remember stuff, but I just wanted to kind of go over, you know, kind of a little bit of the history of Happy Jack and why he was one of the most popular. He could end it short, he could go long distance, produce good dogs, came from solid parents and grandparents, just a recipe for success. Other people recognized it besides James Hand and Jimmy Lee and Eunice, and you know, you even had Freddie Haikila use some of that stuff. Holland used it, or you get Cherokee Chief. You know, Cherokee Chief was off of Buck or Blue, who was from the Bully Son Long's Tuffy breeding. So with Midnight Cowboy, you have Long's Bully Son Long's Baby. With Buck or Blue, you have Bully Son Long's Tuffy. They put those two together. They're related, same kind of styles, same build. You know, you even get black and tans out of there. You get black dogs, brindle dogs. You know, black brindle. You can get buckskin, black mask, widow's peak, red with the widow's peak, black nose, black mask, like that. You get a lot of similarities in a lot of those dogs, and for a long time they were popular. I'm sure if there's that blood around, it's still popular today, and numerous people used it all through the South. Even Boyles used it, you know, bred it into his stuff. Cody and Much, you know, like I said, Jimmy Lee, James Hand, man, the names escape me, but well-known dogs. And of the Midnight Cowboy stuff, I have to say that Happy Jack is my favorite too, you know, of that stuff. So hopefully this helped answer some questions. Thanks again, Quan, and thanks for everybody's support. Hit me up if you need some stuff, you know where. Thank you.